For those of you that are here for the first time, we are a gathering of young adults between the age group of 18 to 40 years who are interested in exploring virtues as a way of experiencing life, from facing challenges to finding solutions to every problems. Also, it was Thanksgiving yesterday, if I'm not wrong. So I just wanted to take a moment and wish everyone happy Thanksgiving. Take this moment to be grateful that we're all together today and reflect on what we're all thankful for. As you know, our theme today is creating my new normal. And, if you look up the word normal in the dictionary, the definition is expected, something that is expected, something that is usual, the same. It's not new. So when you say new normal, it's two different words together. And 2020 for sure has taught us to expect the most unexpected things. I myself had gone for a vacation to USA, and I went on February, and I came back on June 29th. So nobody goes for that long a vacation. I know you'll understand. I was held back there due to COVID, and it was such an adventure for me. The whole world is on lockdown, and I am happily taking flights left and right, 6 hours, 7 hours between US here and there, and everyone's sitting at home, and I'm sending videos to my family. Look, I'm in the plane, look at the clouds. So I was traveling the world when everyone was at home, lockdown. It was a wonderful experience. I learned so much. I had around 3 to 4 quarantines there because I was traveling to and fro. But all in all, it was very new and so not normal for me. I'm not used to that kind of a lifestyle. Very different. But I had a good time. And I just wanted to ask if all of you can pick up a pen and paper, if you have access to a pen and paper in a few seconds.
Yes, Sarita, can you stop sharing the screen so that we can have the faces of everyone and the screen will be larger, if
Sure.
you don't mind? Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you. And I'd also like to see everyone, if that's okay. We're going to have a little art activity. So if you can all pick up some pen and paper or pencil, and we'd like, let me show you a demonstration. What you can do is write your name, and you can give a description of what your new normal is. Your name on top, and this is a mask because I haven't, this is just so not normal, still very new, getting normal. You can either make a drawing, or if you don't have access to pen and paper, you could pick up an item that describes your new normal, which could be, say, a snow globe. So the world was filled with people, and now it's just quiet, and now it's coming back. Or you could, I don't know, maybe show a rubber band. Resilience for me. Tested my resilience, but I'm still tight. So an item that connects with you, you connect with it, that would describe your new normal, or a drawing like this. Anything would do. And you have 2 to 3 minutes for it. Is that enough? I can see some faces, very entertained. Okay, I'll give you your 2 to 3 minutes to get your item or draw. 2 more minutes. I'd also like to take this moment to ask you all to turn on your cameras if it's convenient so that we can see your artwork. I see a few people have switched theirs on. It's so good to see you.
Whomever missed it, maybe we can make them aware what we are doing if somebody has joined after we explain.
Sure.
Yeah.
For anyone who's just tuned in, we are having an art activity. You could pick up a pen and a paper and create a drawing with your name on top and something, an image that describes your new normal. It can be anything. I have a mask here. If you want, you could use colors, or it could be an item. For example, a snow globe that the whole world was with people and then it's locked down, slowly settled down, or a scrunchie that explains resilience. Stretch, 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 but didn't tear, didn't break, it's still tight. If you can relate to an item, you could show an item. Okay, so time's up. Are we ready? You could all hold your item or everything on the screen on your camera. I see a guitar from Prakash. Nice music. I see sanitizer from Sangeeta. Uh, what is Madeline holding? I'm sorry, I can't see. Okay, I see Zoom from Satish, a nice laptop, which is our new normal. Helen is showing two people and social distancing. Nice. Very nice. Anyone else would like to share any item or anything? You can pick up anything and share it. Phone. Okay. Hi. What is that? Could you bring it closer, Omana? Could you bring it closer to the camera? I see a sun from Bhuvanesh. Mana. Oh, it's a mask. Okay. Is it an N95? Because that's the most difficult one to wear. Nice. Okay. I see something on Sajint's screen as well. Is that a laptop? It's probably a phone. It's a phone. Nice. Okay. Okay. Anyone else would like to share? You've all done such a good job, so creative. That too in just a matter of 3 minutes. Yeah, I definitely took 5 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes to draw this with all the colors. Okay. Do you need more time or can I move on?
If you can just share, Sarita, your story. You have been to US and got stuck, and what was your learning there for the just to
Yeah,
get into the.
I'll share a very deep learning that I had. It was so profound to just stay, like, accept how much is given to me to eat. My mom has spoiled me. I eat to my heart's content. But because I was staying with other people and I was in quarantine and I was locked down, I was given a certain amount of food and I just had to make my peace with that. And that is very difficult for me because I love eating. So that was one very profound learning that I had. It sounds funny, but it really changed how I see seafood, and how I take it also. Like, I don't eat without thinking now. I'm very conscious of how much I eat and how I eat. That was one. The second was I really had to fight with the COVID, because all the news that we were on TV, on social media, everywhere, there was so much fear for this, because at that time nobody knew what was happening and people were dying all over. And I to take a decision to travel from point A to point B because I had to was not easy. Just to find that courage that I'm safe. Just a knowing that I'm safe and I'm going to be safe. And US was the most affected country in the entire world, and that didn't make it any easier. My friends messaging me and telling me that, oh my God, you're in US. Out of everywhere, you had to get stuck in US. And like, you went to US, COVID came because of you. All those things together, it was not. It was very hard to find my courage at that time, but just taking the step and going for it. And when I was traveling in the flight, looking at other people made me calm down a lot, because it may seem like people weren't being safe, but there was one experience that really stood out to me at the airport. One lady, she sneezed, and immediately I'm like, oh my God, the fear. That poor lady, she sneezed, and there was a man who was sitting right next to me, and he just said, bless you. Immediately my thought changed, and I was like, that's what we usually say. But she sneezed, and the first thought that came in my mind was, oh no, COVID, corona. I got scared. When he said bless you, I was reminded that's what we always say, just bless people, just give them blessings, just be positive. Nothing's gonna happen to me, just be positive. Not in terms of corona, like be positive in general. But yeah.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Yes.
Great. And someone will be wondering why we are having cup of chai or cup of coffee and all. Maybe for them, maybe new, because in Virtue Cafe we usually have this cup, with coffee or juice or whatever you
Yes.
like. Yeah,
Yes.
probably next time. Yeah, we can have a coffee or whatever during this session.
You
It's just
could
to relax
definitely
and to
have
share openly.
coffee
Yeah.
and tea or any drink you like. For me, caffeine is like having a shot of God knows what. If I have coffee, I will not sleep at night. So I have water, but I have something. So it's okay.
Interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So shall we move on? Okay. Now that we're done with our little art activity and you have an idea on what your new normal is, or you've had a chance to reflect about it and think about it, I will share my screen. Just a moment. We could all take a chance and give you a briefing to what the session is going to be like. We've done the first activity, that is break the ice. Now we have an opportunity to explore, express, and exchange ideas with each other. Can you all see my screen? Okay. So we will take a moment to reflect on the questions that I will be showing on the next slide. And you can think about the answers in your mind. And then we'll have a chance to exchange those ideas and thoughts with each other. and express ourselves later all together in a group. In the next part of the session, we will have our guest speaker, Judy Johnson, who will be joining us all the way from Canada, the land of ice and snow. And
Sarita, can we make it the lights screen, like yeah, full screen, so that
I'm
it will be clear for all of us? Thank you.
sorry, yes. One moment. Can you see it now in full screen? Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And she's going to share her insights and experiences on creating our new normal. And the last part we'll end with meditation and any questions you may have, which you can feel free to type in the chat box, or you can switch on your video, your audio, and ask. And let's get started. Can you all see the screen? Okay. Okay. So I'd like you all to take a moment and reflect on these questions. Can I read them out to you? What is the new normal for you? Question one. Second one, what other newness should you bring in your thoughts and actions that will support you in these times? And the last one, be digitally savvy or be left behind. This is for discussion. So, what comes to mind when you see these statements, sentences, when you see these questions? Just take a moment to reflect on that. पंडित
अच्छा मगर ये की है कि तुम हम ये करे गए थे कि मने हाथ तो नहीं दे मैं भगवान को देखा था बचपन से और प्लस दादाजी दादाजी पिताजी दादाजी के दादाजी वो सब वही चला शादी विधि का ये सब मुहूर्त कहाँ के रहने वाले आप?
would you be able to mute?
Yeah, so, Malik, would you like to mute yourself because there are some background noise?
Okay. Okay. Let's. So, have you all had a chance to reflect on the questions? If you've been able to do that, now we will form groups and discuss what we've reflected on, the thoughts that we've had with each other. And then we will come back and discuss it with each other all together from our groups. We'll join back together and reflect on all the questions together. And each one of you from the group could come and share with us the thoughts of your entire group. Is that good? Satish, would you like to add anything?
Thank you, Sarita. So we can have like 3 people in a group so that we have enough chance for everyone to share their views and ideas. So we will have nearly 15 minutes for this session activity. So once we are reaching the time, we will send a reminder so that you can come back to the main platform. So we encourage you to share openly with authentic, and also not to leave the meeting, and to again you can join back to the main meeting area.
And they will be able to see
yeah.
the questions.
Anyone has any questions? If they want any clarification, so that you have to just click to join the meeting when pop-up is there. You have to just click that so that meeting can be, you can join the group. So I'm now going to split it.
Okay. Should I share the questions or they'll be able to see the screen?
Maybe in the chat box also we can share the questions so that they can see that.
Okay.
करती है, हरारत होगा, बुखार होगा।
Yeah, keep the meeting on for live YouTube live streaming. So yeah.
तुरंत लग जाएगा।
हाँ, नहीं करेंगे, 10-12 हजार का खर्चा भरे, लेकिन पता ना चला निकल आपको हमारे यहाँ।
10-12 हजार।
Okay.
Yes, Sarita, you can.
Yes, Satish.
Yeah, you were having some reflections for here for the
Yes,
YouTube.
I have. Yes. In fact, we had Prakash to join as well. I think he was in
Okay.
my room too.
Okay, fine. Let's continue.
Yeah. Okay. One thought that I had was it's very creating anything new requires a lot of courage, and it's very difficult to. I find myself giving up for little things. So, how can I maintain or that fearlessness and the courage consistently in a time like this? Like at every step, I have to remind myself that I can do this. Because things are getting tougher and tougher by the day. It's not getting easier. Things are not changing. It's been a while now. And just to have that courage, how to maintain that state of fearlessness consistently or constantly, that self esteem, how should it stay at par? What do you think about this, Sati?
Yeah, before I share, Madeline, are you there? Yeah, would you like to share some insight on that?
Yes, I'm here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
you got the question right.
Uh,
yes.
what is really normal? If you think about it, it's difficult to identify what's normal when it depends on so many people on what is their way of life. So I feel it's just when something suddenly change, we find it what do you say abnormal. Something unusual is not normal. So for me, I think a greater understanding of what's going on and accepting it has been one way that I've tried to understand this new normal.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, when it's coming to, for me in terms of having the courage, naturally I try to be positive all the time to changing the way I see the things and the way I reflect on myself. How can I change something into opportunity rather than seeing as a threat or feeling? Because I feel that there is a when I started tuning it in within myself to see something, some what is a positive, some lightness on that. So I see that there is a chances that I come into the positive energy. Then there is a chances that I am able to find some solutions in terms of whatever the things happening in my life. To briefly to share, like nowadays, almost 9 months I had to stay at home and work from home. I don't meet my friends. I don't drive. So now during this time, what I did to make me little more, I do every newness at home. Bring some newness. I bring plants. I change my position. and I some more other things to keep myself into, bring some newness within myself, so that I enjoy that. And also being with myself, I started learning to be with myself. Earlier, I want people around me all the time. Now nobody is around me, so I have to enjoy with myself also. So I started learning this new concept of being enjoying yourself, and be your good friend, take care of yourself, and take care of others as well. So this is something beautiful I'm learning these days. Thank you, Sarita. So Melanie would like to ask something for Sarita.
Yeah, I'm interested actually to know how she adjusted to the new normal, because she chose having these masks, all these new changes, physical changes. What's your view about that?
So it wasn't easy. It started, the first time I wore a mask was the irony of it. I was stuck in US for 4.5 months, but the first time I wore a mask was when I was leaving from there to come back to Dubai for a 14-hour flight. And it wasn't just 14 hours. Before that, there was a flight from San Francisco to Chicago, which was another 6 hours. So 14 plus 6. It was a lot of hours. And I was wearing an N95. And I had so much fear inside. And I could not, even to eat, I would take a breath in, put the mask down, take a bite, put it back, and then chew. I wouldn't breathe, even for like 2 seconds when the mask is down. That's how much fear I had. I was so scared. And coming back here, when I joined work and got back to working, when I saw in office people are very calm, very composed. And then I was like, I've come back and I've tested negative, so it's not such a big deal. If I can,
What made you adjust? I mean, how did you, what made you manage it, the fear that you're having? Because it's not easy to live in fear.
yeah, it's really not.
What,
So
what did you use? I mean, how did you manage that fear?
I think it was just the knowledge, that an understanding of myself, and knowing that even if something does happen, I'm going to be okay at the end of it. Just that I always have that belief, even when fear comes, I just know that I'll get through it. I'll be okay. I'm safe. Even
Mhm.
now, if I'm not, I'll be safe eventually.
Yeah,
There,
I guess it's just a matter of adjustment. Like I realized, when I started going back to office, and I was wearing mask, and then going to the office, I kind of, tried to understand that this is a situation. This is something that everything happens every time something new happens, and everything is always changing. So it's just a new change, another way of living, where it's gonna pass again. It's gonna move on. So that helped me adapted to it easily, and accept it. And whenever I have that feeling that I'm accepting it, I'm able to seize the moment. So I feel like, I'm getting used to the idea that I can manage this situation. Even if I'm outside, it does not cause me any fear. I'm working, I'm traveling by public transport. I'm drawing this from my thought that this is something that when I'm able to take control of myself, of my feelings, I'm not going to get it. I'm not going to be affected by anything. This is not going to come to me. Whatever is there outside, I don't see it, but I can seize the moment. It's my time to really show that I am able to live through it, live past through it. So every day, that's what I put in my mind whenever I enter the metro station or the bus, that I have this bubble of protection, and I'm able to go through the process.
wow,
And yeah, and so far, I mean, it's been like 5 months since the lockdown. We were used to use work from home, but then after that I had to go back and try to really make it normal, try to really uh, accept that whatever will come, I'm gonna be able to solve it. Whatever will come in front of me, I'm gonna, get away with all the problems and do something about it. So that is that it easier. So we have some friends here. I think it's Deepa or Zima and Sangita. Maybe they have some thoughts to share. What do you
Yeah.
say, Sarita?
So all the group members will be joining in less than a minute to the
Okay.
mainstream. We close all the rooms now. Yeah. So we have nearly 6 minutes for them to share their insights probably as a group.
Okay.
Sarita can, also.
Just a
Right.
quick one, Satish. What do you think about being digital savvy or being left behind? Savvy
Yeah,
or
now
no?
I'm learning new skills in terms of to be aware of this, using the new method of communications, and having this program virtually. Like for example, now Virtual Cafes has on virtual now. Earlier we used to have not limited. Now we can connect with us, so that we are learning new tools and communication things also. Plus all the meetings what we are having, client meetings and everything now online. So to be familiar with that and able to adapt to this newness is very important. And also technology is driving the world now in all the areas, like let it be healthcare, let it be finance, let it be banking, let it be anything. So everyone is going digital. Even I was focusing on renewing a contract. I don't need to go to anywhere. I just sit at home and do everything. It was ready.
Okay, that's cool. So, Sarita, what about you? Digital savvy or being left behind? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, I think it's okay to be left behind, but then
True.
it's a different take on it. But because I'm not digitally savvy at all, very handicapped when it comes to being digitally savvy, left behind, but it's okay. I think I can accept that because we have so many individuals who are digitally savvy. Happy being.
I think that's a great idea. I mean, to take a different route, and I also feel like you do some balance about it. Sometimes you hibernate from the digital world, or
That's
sometimes
the
you can.
best, isn't it?
Yeah,
A break
true.
from the screen.
Sarita,
We
I
have.
think your guests are everyone's
Are
here,
we all
so
back?
maybe you want to come back to them.
Yes, sure. Everyone's back. Can we begin?
Yeah. We have few minutes so that we can ask some experience or some insights what they have discussed.
Yes, sure. So, would anybody like to share on behalf of your group or just your thoughts also about what you reflected with each other, with yourself, about what is your new normal? Anyone?
It was Nikhil from our group. Nikhil, can you speak, please?
Yeah, sure. So so we had Prakash and Devendra with us, and so as per them, the first one, which is what is the new normal for you? Uh, as per Prakash, right, was guitar at work. So he's singing at work now. So, and for Devendra Bhai, it was more into self-realization, that he has time now to do a self-realization. And second, what other newness should you bring? That was Prakash Bhai, it was more of world benefit. And second was Devendra Bhai was saying about alertness. He has that. And third is all of us, we agree on the digital savvy, that we need to be, this is new normal, and that's the, you need to be as, very master on digital savvy. Yeah.
Okay. I have Sajint to speak on behalf of Group 2.
Sajid, can we
Yeah, hi.
Hi.
can we see your
So,
smart face, Sajid?
1 second.
Oh, great.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
actually traveling, so,
Okay.
but still, yeah, I think in my group we had Omana I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name right. Omana, Omna. I'm really sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Then we had Mr. Soham, and we had Deepthi. So what we were discussing is, all of us have slowly adapted to this change. So I think being digitally savvy it's fine. And my personal take on this is, especially as someone who's born after the 2000s, I think we are digital natives. This is something that we had from a very young age of our life. And this is something that we've been naturally adjusted to from a young age. So I don't think this is anything new, because we as human beings, we've always been open to changes. If we have not been open to changes, we would have stuck the same way. For example, I've heard stories of people like, when electricity came to their villages, they thought it was black magic or the work of Satan or something. But I think if you just keep complaining, and if you will never leap forward. We as human beings, even from the stages of evolution, it's different challenges that have brought us to the place where we are right now. So I think being tech savvy is fine, but you shouldn't lose your human emotional values, because at the end of the day, that's what makes us human beings.
Yes, beautiful. Very beautifully said. Thank you, Sajent. Would anyone else like to share? Such deep reflections from all of you. We had 3-4 groups. Satish?
Yeah, we had 6 groups actually.
Wow, we had 6
Yeah.
groups. Okay, come on. Anyone else from group 3, 4, 5, 6?
Arpan, do you want to share something, Arpan? Or Madhuchandra?
Arpan, Madhuchandra, please, most welcome. Would you like to share anything? Any thoughts?
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Hi. And I think tech savvy is good when you are learning something from online classes and all. Now it has become our life. Already it came in our life. Without computer, you cannot do anything nowadays. So online and tech savvy, I think it is actually it is came already in our lifestyle. But obviously we should discipline ourselves, and we should not avoid our own means whoever is staying with us, in our family members, friends nearby. So nothing like every time we should always busy with our phone and computer only. That is also not good. Like that, we should allow ourselves, discipline ourselves, and not totally dependency also is not good for everything in means technology. Because if someday we are not getting, so that time we will get depressed and all. It is good one way we can connect with people. You see, so many people we are gathering here because of this, no? So it is good that in that way we can share our emotions, we can share our thoughts with our friends and relatives. But same way we should develop other hobbies also.
Yes.
And we should learn some skill also, so that we can be with ourselves also some time of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhu, so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
I just want to add something very quickly. What I heard
Yes.
from Arpan. Arpan also was in the same group,
Yes.
and he said what this COVID has, the new normal for him is that life has slowed down. He has learned to slow down life, and also embrace the concept of minimalism. A minimalistic life, which I think these 2 points are really beautiful. And I had shared that the lockdown period has really taught me to love myself more, be my own good friend more. So that's one new thing that I learned, and would like to keep it that way. Thank you.
Thank you, Krishna. Thanks a lot. I would now like to invite our special guest speaker, Judy Johnson. Judy has owned and run a consulting business for almost 35 years. Her fascination with perspective transformation began, and she lived as a teenager in Indonesia, continued through training in family therapy, and turned into a career facilitating leadership and organizational development. For almost a decade, she managed international development programs with youth in Latin America and Asia. Returning to Canada, she facilitated intercultural briefings on behalf of the Canadian government for diplomats and professionals working overseas. Now she assists organizations to move beyond conflict and create vibrant learning communities. And she's an amazing author. Some of her books include The Seven Secrets of the Universe, Beautiful Thoughts, Living as Art, and Return to Source, the God Experience. So, Judy, you are most welcome here. We give flowers usually when we welcome everyone. I made you a whole tree. It's all yours, the cherry blossom.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
most
you.
welcome.
Hello, everyone. I got to hear a little bit of what you were saying, and what a lovely, vibrant community you are. And if you meet regularly, then this is a really good way to keep yourself going in COVID, hey? Wonderful, wonderful. It's great to be here. Thank you, Satish and Prakash, for inviting me. And, as I listen to you speak, it's early morning here in Canada, and we're entering winter. So our lockdown is going to be like lockdown, or we can't go out because of the weather. And so, yeah, it's, what do we say about this thing that we've just been through, that we're still going through? I heard you say lots of things of wisdom already. So it could be that everything I'm about to say, you've already discovered on your own, I suspect. But I'm going to share it anyways. How's that? I was thinking about what angle to take on this. For us here, we've had very few cases. I don't know about Dubai, but we had very few cases because we were so cautious, and we were wearing masks everywhere months ago. And all of a sudden, because of the winter, the cases have gone crazy. And so now suddenly we're having to be we were always cautious, but now I think people are scared, but they're also very respectful. I can feel that everybody's complying because they really care to make sure everyone's okay. So I really appreciate about this place that I live, that there's that attitude. Okay, maybe not everyone, but mostly, which I really appreciate. So, I'm bringing today my own reflections about this COVID period, but also I'm bringing, of course, the Raj Yoga view, because I've been with the Brahma Kumaris now for, I think, about 23 years studying. And I was always a great fan of the art of reframe. I was always a great fan of what we do with our minds and what we do with our thinking can actually really change how a situation unfolds. So, this wasn't new to me when I came to the Brahma Kumaris, but it certainly got better. So if possible, I would like to share my screen with you, because I made just a few PowerPoint slides because I love pictures. I just think they speak so much louder than words. So if I can share some of these, I don't know, can you see this and still see each other? Yeah, okay, there we go. Creating new normal. The way I saved this was creating new Norman. So I've been laughing at myself, creating the new Norman. And I don't know if you saw on Facebook this morning, it just came by my Facebook lead anyways, but this little comic of somebody saying, I live in impending Zoom. I thought, yeah, there's just a whole new form of doom. People live in impending Zoom. Constantly living on Zoom. So, and I've heard people talk about the dread. I have another Zoom meeting. So it's kind of funny that, we're translating doom for Zoom these days. So I don't know. I feel like we're all creating a new normal right now. And I'm okay with that because I think what we had called normal wasn't natural. And even though we had become quite accustomed to our way of living, I don't think it was natural, which is why we have bodily disease, which is why we have societal breakdown, which is why we have relationship troubles. It's because we have been living something we called normal that really wasn't natural. And when something isn't natural, it grates, it grinds, it causes irritation, and that causes disease, actually. So I feel like it's kind of great, actually, that we're creating a new normal right now. And however, it's been a little painful, and I understand that the world. The other day in class, I think the slogan was, "The world is changing. Are you changing too?" And I thought, wow, not to put too fine a point on it, but that's kind of what's happening. The world is changing. Am I changing too? So I just want to share just a little perspective on this thing, and I know that for many people, and myself included in some aspects, but not being able to see friends and family, not being able to travel, not being able to do all the things that in a way distracted me from myself, took me away from difficulties. I know here we've got quite an issue with Canada's just legalized marijuana, which, no opinion on that, it just is. But you can see, especially in the age group of the 18 to 35-year-olds in Canada, marijuana has been a self-medication. It's been a way to escape stress, anxiety. And so it's like a medication for people. But I also look at the young people that I know. I have a couple of daughters, 27, 25. So that age group is very much in my life right now. How much I feel that what the soul is really looking for is peace. And they find it through the experience of marijuana. And I can look at all the various drugs in the world. I just got back from Thailand before lockdown, and they're fighting, huge heroin and cocaine and stuff. You think, okay, what does that particular drug do for a soul? That's probably what the soul's looking for. So cocaine speeds people up, makes them feel really smart. Heroin makes you sort of hallucinogenic and visualize. Every drug has its own particular reaction, but when you look at why is the soul using that particular drug, so I'm seeing here in Canada I can feel that the souls are calling for peace, and their chosen method to get there is not sustainable. But it's their chosen method. So this question, the world is changing, are you changing too? I actually feel we really are changing. And I think that this COVID, this year has been a huge year for personal growth. And partly because we've been stripped away from all of our medicines, whether it was shopping. Internet's not been stripped away, but can you imagine what will happen to us when the internet gets, when it gets disrupted? I mean, even a day here, if the power goes out, which happens for us pretty regularly during the winter period, people will first lose their internet, and that will be probably more distressing than cold. Which is kind of funny, but it's been a huge year for personal growth, and I think for many people, for those of us that sort of were doing this kind of meditation or personal development or self-reflection work, we had a bit of a leg up. But I'm thinking of the friends that I have who every weekend that I went away on this self-development thing, I said, you want to come? It was really great. We learned so much about ourselves. We come into peace. Where did they go? They always chose instead to go to the beach, or they went off on some picnic, or they went to the movies. There was always something that they did. And they didn't come with me to the personal development, self-development. Let's go to the meditation retreat weekend. So for my friends, for those that I know who chose instead of going to the reflection retreat, I feel like for them this year was a lot like that. was like a crash course in personal development, and not really easy. It just came all at once. And so those of us that were doing the meditation thing, I mean, we kind of had a bit of a leg up. We had a bit of a head start. We kind of knew what it was like to look inside our minds, to be alone in our minds, and to see the anxiety, the fear, the endless what if thinking, the negative thoughts, the boredom. We had seen this. And in fact, we probably were fed up with some of the other methods for anesthetizing ourselves. And that's why we went to meditation. That's why we went to self-development. We were looking to conquer some of these things. So we had a bit of a heads up, and hopefully those of us that did this kind of personal development work before COVID, we, especially at the Raj Yoga Center, we would have discovered, there's this peaceful soul lurking behind all of these crazy thoughts. In fact, not just lurking, but ever present, always there, stable observer self. And what a great discovery. But as I said, for those of us who didn't do that, this is what this year has pretty much felt like. So it's been probably the most intensive personal self-development learning laboratory of their lives, and all at once. And wow, really can feel for them. But here's the good news. So if anyone in this group had that experience, it perfectly understandable. It's been a crash course in personal development this year. But the good news, and I'm not going to linger on that because I think probably you've had a chance to chat about that. But the good news, and this is the art of reframe, and definitely we learn this in meditation, is that we get to choose. The one thing we do get to choose is our perspective. And, you've probably seen this on Facebook. I really love this one. So you can have a look at which one are you. I love the utopist. The glass is, the water sits in the top of the glass. I don't actually know what the EA, if that was a cutoff, the very bottom one. If somebody understands that, I'd love to understand it. I don't think it got cut off because this comes as a fixed image, but I don't get that one. And the surrealist is pretty good too. And the realist, it's just a glass of water, and the gratitude is, I'm so grateful I have a glass of water. Anyways, we can add on to these. Does anyone get the last one? The numbers, it's $2,100. So the glass of water is now worth, I don't get the last one. If it said EU, I would get it, but it didn't. It says EA. Anyways, we'll figure that out. So the good news is we get to choose our perspective. And if any of you have ever read Viktor Frankl's work, he was a godsend for me in my teenage years, discovering this gentleman who'd survived the Holocaust. And his book is a very skinny book. Anyone unmuting to tell us about the EA? No. Okay, somebody just unmuted. I was wondering if you had a quick insight. No. Okay. Anyone read Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning? Yeah, type it in the chat box if you have figured it out. Economist. Is it? Oh, Prakash, that's great. Economist. Right, it's 2,100. Well, our economist would be looking at the conditions of scarcity that would increase the value of the water. Correct. Okay, very good. Thanks, Prakash. So Viktor Frankl, he wrote a book called Search for Meaning, and basically saying that the one thing, the only thing that he could choose while he was in the concentration camp was his attitude. So this realization that we get to choose our perspective. And something I've learned from my daughter's photographer, very fine photographer actually, is that always when we take pictures, we get to choose the foreground. And suddenly, you know, what was a pretty ugly scene becomes very beautiful simply because of where we put our focus. So foreground is always our choice, which is very nice. So we learn that as meditators as well. So I guess what I've been thinking about this is that because I get to choose my foreground, I'm going to choose this as a foreground instead. I'm going to choose the flourish and bloom foreground for my life. And I've done a lot of research into resilience, and I know it's a word that's become quite popular here in the West anyways. Is it there in Dubai? Do you hear the word resilience a lot spoken? Yeah. So the resilience research, and I could do a whole session on this, I'm going to give in short form. Resilience research has kind of gone from the tree being blown over. You know, resilience means I bounce back after a tragedy or a difficulty or a life challenge. And okay, that's good, but that just means I survive. But instead of surviving, the resilience research is now going into, well, instead of just surviving, why don't I thrive? So from surviving to thrive is now, when they speak about resilience, they're speaking about flourishing or thriving, which I think is great. And then the next level up, and it actually comes from an economist, a gentleman by the name of Nassim Taleb, and he wrote a book called Anti-Fragile. I didn't include all these slides, but his thinking is, and this is very much a spiritual principle, is to become unshakable, to actually become stronger, to become immovable and unshakable as a result of negative things. So, but here's the thing, they're like 3 tiers. And the first tier, do I just bounce back? Okay, that's coping. And we have all probably developed coping strategies during this COVID period, right? So I cope with being indoors more. I cope with not being able to exercise by finding maybe a new method of exercising. I cope with not being able to see family or friends by Zooming them once a week, whatever. We've all found coping mechanisms. But in order to flourish, that's the next level up. And I'm going to go into that one a little bit now, but the final level is to be unshakable, to have absolutely nothing affect me because I am such an independently sourced unit that I am so full inside that nothing could topple me, nothing could touch my happiness, my peace. That's our ultimate aim. And of course, that actually requires an inner practice, a regular, consistent practice. But this middle level, this flourish and bloom level, actually requires only one thing. And I think it's such a simple and beautiful thing. And that is simply to reflect, to have a regular practice of reflection, so that I am drawing wisdom from my lived experience. Okay, I've been through a hard time. Great, I coped. Great, I found strategies to get me through it. But if I want to flourish, if I want to thrive and not just survive, I actually have to make a regular practice of reflecting so I can draw the wisdom from my lived experience and use it as fertilizer for growth. Right? So not just having been through something and telling the victory stories, I got through it, or telling the coping stories of how I'm coping. This is very important from a social and an emotional perspective. But from a thriving perspective, I actually have to draw wisdom. What have I learned that I want to keep or that is making me stronger at this time? And I feel like just having eavesdropped some of your conversation in your plenary, I can see you're already in that stage of thinking, okay, what's the wisdom I can draw from this? Because the wisdom is fertilizer for growth. And that's the level of thriving. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to sort of suggest that we take the driver's wheel. We take charge of this thing. And we put ourselves in the driver's seat and we draw wisdom from this experience of COVID. I'm going to share with you something quite simple, and I don't know if any of you use this acronym. Do any of you in your work, have you been exposed to this TOC acronym? It's just new for me and the work that I do as an organizer. I'm not seeing, just on the faces I can see, I'm not seeing recognition. It's known as theory of change, TOC. So I was asked to write a proposal the other day for something to do with the United Nations. It's a small group within the United Nations. And the first question they asked in my proposal, would I please explain my TOC? And I had to go looking for the acronym. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. What does that mean? So now it seems quite common that when, especially in change in organizations, they're asking as a consultant that you explain, please, what is your theory of change? And I thought, what a great question. How many hours do you have? And then I thought, I have to get really essence-full about my theory of change, right? So I'm experimenting today with theory of change. So I showed the slide at the beginning, the world is changing, are you changing too? Well, here's my theory of change. And I think it jives with the Brahma Kumaris very nicely with Raj Yoga. And that is, I'm changing, so therefore the world is changing too. So the world responds to our changes, and the world actually responds to our need for change. It's a bit of a radical turnaround. So instead of the world's changing, how am I changing? Am I changing? Instead, I'm already changing. That's why the world is changing. The world reflects the changes inside all of us. In the self-managing leadership program, we used to do the theory of change, the S curve, where, you know, everything starts new, matures, gets a little older, reaches a plateau. And at the plateau, it starts to decay. So we look at a person's life into old age. We look at a new business investment. We look at a new idea, anything new, a new habit. And at a certain point, it plateaus. And we used to think that, oh, the world's changing around me. I'm having to cope. I'm in chaos. But in fact, we discovered that, no, I, the person, changed. And I don't fit my life anymore. And so I look at my life and I think my life's falling apart. My relationships are on troubled ground. You know, my profession isn't as satisfying. I'm bumping. And then we used to think, oh, my world's changing. But then we understood with this new theory of change, no. In fact, I've changed. I don't fit my life anymore. But it looks like my life changed. It's because I didn't notice I changed. You with me? Very radical theory of change, very different than the world's theory of change right now. So the world responds to our need for change. It's a little bit like the collective unconscious is going in a certain direction, and we didn't notice it. So, for instance, most of us don't go on diets. I confess I've never been on a diet, but I have a skinny body. But the people I know that go on diets, I know they only ever go on diets when the scale is way over the top, right? Or they can't fit into their favorite pants anymore, right? They don't go before then. You know, and I know that people only ever change their diet and their lifestyle after they've got the blood pressure results or the illness. You know, we're not inclined to make big changes just for fun. Usually we're inclined to make big changes because we have to. But deep inside, we actually really want a healthy lifestyle. We just didn't have the power to do it for ourselves. Is this true in your experience? Okay, so what if, according to this new theory of change, what if I was ready to change the way I lived? What if, before COVID came, I was ready? What if we collectively were ready to change the way we lived on the planet? Only we didn't know we were ready. What if COVID brought something that I really needed or wanted to me, even if I didn't know I really needed it or wanted it? What if? We were told last week in our morning class that real gold molds. I noticed this is a Canadian gold. I didn't know we had those things. But anyways, here we have real gold. And see how bright it is? I think in Dubai you have lots of gold. But we're told that real gold molds, meaning 24 karat gold is quite malleable, quite adjustable, right? But so what if I am being softened so I can mold? So gold is more valuable when it's pure, right? I think we are more valuable when we mold. And I have noticed, as someone who hires people into organizations, that their professional value to me as an employer is higher, is greater when they are adaptable people, when they have the ability to adjust and to mold, when they're the kind of person that can get anything done no matter what challenge you give them. They'll figure it out. So a high level of competence is actually more valuable in a work setting than a specific skill set. You can hire people with specific skill sets. You can't always hire someone who's got the capacity to mold and adjust. And in fact, it often fits in the category of fit. Do they fit? Right? So in what if during this whole process, I'm being softened so I can mold, so that I can increase my professional and personal value? What if? What if these are all things I really wanted? So I'm going to ask us to reflect. I hope you have a piece of paper and a pen. And I think we come to the questions afterwards, don't we? Because there might be some questions cooking about this, but there's my theory of change. What if all of this is bringing us exactly what we wanted and needed? Only we didn't really notice we wanted and needed, and maybe it was a bit like an enforced diet. I heard the brothers say minimalism, embracing minimalism. What a wonderful thing. And didn't we all need to do that as a planet? Yes. Were we going willingly? No. So, okay, piece of paper and pen, that's all you need. I've got 4 reflection questions for you. And I'm going to ask that how we do this is that you do not think when I ask you the question. See if you can interrupt your automatic thinking process of trying to respond to the question, which is a very analytical left brain thing. I'm going to ask these questions, and I'm going to ask that before you think, if you can write down the first words that come into your mind. Don't let a thought into your mind. Have your pen writing quickly, okay? Because it's such a habit to think that we don't even catch the wisdom that's buried in our subconscious. And usually it's the first thing that comes into our head, okay? And then you can interpret it later. Okay, willing? So pen and paper, I'm just going to ask you 4 questions that come from this theory of change, this TOC. Okay, here we go. First question, what changes have you made during COVID that you actually really like? Just write them down quick. What changes have you made during this COVID period that you actually really like? Write them down quickly before you think too much. I'm going to write mine down. Wow, I have a long list. Do you? I'm surprised how long my list is. Okay, I'm still going. I just got 2 more. I didn't know that till I asked the question. Okay. Okay. Done? Question 1? Ready? Question 2. Here we go. Again, no thinking, right? The first thing that comes into your head. What has this time revealed to you about what is most important to you? Okay, is it a long list or a short list? I imagine friends and family are on that list for all of us. Yeah, I noticed I'm happy when I have fewer choices. That was interesting. Anyways, okay, next question. And yeah, okay, here we go. Next question. Again, no thinking. What's been the most challenging thing for you and how have you adjusted? I'd like you to write your most successful adjustment you have made. Successful adjustment. So what's been most challenging for you? Quick, write it down. And what's the most successful adjustment you've made to yourself? Okay, good. Ready for the next one? Or still thinking? Okay, still thinking. No, ready? Okay, Satish, ready? Yeah, okay. All right, here's the last one. And again, no thinking, write down the first thing comes into your head. What do you really want? What is calling you from inside? What do you really want? And the first three things on your list are going to be the most important. What do you really want? Three things. Okay. I don't know if any of you have read the book From Good to Great. It's old now. It's about leadership and organizational development. And his simple premise, Jim Collins, was if you're good, it becomes an obstacle to being great. Because good is kind of enough. So you don't really go the extra distance to become great. It's the same with getting what we want. When we have what we want on a regular basis, we never really stop to look at what I really want. And it's only when all the wants aren't there anymore that we begin to see what I really want. You get what I'm saying? So when we have what we want, we're never really have to think about, but what do I really want? What do I really want is key to creating your new natural, not your new normal, your new natural. Then we'll make it normal. Yeah? So we understand that the mind follows a picture. So we're going to have to start creating pictures of what we really, really want. If what I want is a lot of love in my life, I got to start creating pictures. If what I want is a lot of peace in my life, I got to start creating pictures. What I want in my life is a lot of happiness, I got to start creating pictures. And if what I want, we create our lives with the paintbrush of our thoughts. So whatever I want, I'm going to have to create pictures. Now, Satish, I know we started a bit late. I have a 3-minute activity. Can I do that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so everyone needs pen and paper, and it has to be a clear piece of paper. And it can be in a notebook. It doesn't have to be a full page. I'm going to ask you to draw a circle in the middle of your page. Because for your new normal, you're going to have to figure out how to spend your time and your valuable time and life energy in a worthwhile way to get what you really, really want. So I'm just going to ask you to create a piece of paper that has a circle in the middle of it. Can you see my paper? Yep, there we go. And I'm going to do a screen mirror thing so that you can see it in the right direction, because I think it's backwards right now. There. Okay. Can you see it? clearly. And I put, this is like a clock. I put 0 at the top, 6 o'clock, 12 o'clock noon, 1800 hours, and back to 24 at the top. Put a little star in the center of your circle. And this is going to be a time pie chart. Okay? I'm just going to ask you now to make a quick time pie chart of how you spend your day. So from the star outwards, you begin to see little slivers of time, right? So that's my early morning meditation from 4 to 6, okay? So I know where I am from 4 to 6 every day. That's where I am. I'm just going to label it meditation and say personal study time, okay? So then, you know, what do you do from 6 to, I don't know, from 6 to 8, I know where I am, you know, blah, blah, blah. So I'd like you to just make a time pie chart of your day, how you spend your time in your day, and get all the way around until you're going to sleep at night, okay? So just take a couple of moments to do that. Okay, so mine looks something like this. You know, I don't know what yours looks like, but you just sort of quickly label what you're doing with your time and your precious energy during a 24-hour clock. Okay, you want to hold yours up and just show us what you got so far? None of us will be able to read it, but just to see sort of the patterns that you've got on your page. Go on, put her up to the screen there. Okay, we see some of the patterns. So you get the idea of the pie chart. Okay. Okay, need another minute to finish? Anyone? Sarita Ben, just another minute for you to finish, or you're good to go? Okay, good to go. Okay, now I'm going to ask you to draw a bigger circle around the clock. Okay, one bigger, but leave room, we're going to do another one. And on this, I want you to put at the top, it's going to be, okay, I'm just going to show you this now, and September. Okay, it's going to be the months of the year. So it's like quarters, the year's quarters. So the top, you can't read that, it's Jan for January. And then I've got March over at 6 o'clock. At the bottom, I have September at 12 o'clock noon. And then over at 6 p.m., 1800 hours, I have September. Oh, no, sorry. Oh, I got it wrong. March, sorry, it should be June at the bottom. Yeah, June at the bottom, sorry. June and September, okay? June and September, so you've got quarter of the year. Now, what I'm gonna ask you to do now is I'm just gonna ask you to extend your lines. Don't think about this at all. Just extend your lines from the previous out to the next to meet the outer circle. Just extend your pie chart lines out to the bigger circle. Every line, extend it out, extend it out. So now it's just basically the same pie chart, but it's extended out a little bit bigger. Okay, just extend the lines, don't think about this at all. Okay, the thinking will come in a minute, but not quite yet. Okay, all right, and now one final circle around that, and this is our last circle. So now you've got 3, it looks like a bullseye. You've got 3 circles, and I want you to extend your lines again. No, wait. Sorry, this circle at the top, it says 0, 21, 43, 42, 63, and 84. Okay, so basically this is the average, at least in Canada, the average lifespan of a person. So 0 at the top, I put 21 years old here in March. In September, I put 42, middle age. And then in, in June was 42. In September was 63 years old. And then I'm back to like 84 at the top of my little chart. Okay, so it's like an average lifespan. Here in Canada anyways, actually it's a bit high for an average lifespan, but extend your lines right out to the final circle. All the same lines, just extend them out further till you have a super big pie chart now. It should look like this, super big pie chart. Okay, now you can think. Once you've done that, now you can think. So I'm going to ask you a couple questions. I want you to look at what you've got there. So this would be, if you continued using your time and energy now, the way you're doing it now, this is what it would look like at the end of your life. You spent your life in this way. So just have a little look at that and see how you feel about that. Are you happy with it? You want to keep it the way it is? Is there anything you'd like to change?
Oh no, I don't see myself spending more time working.
So just have a look at that. You don't have to answer out loud, but I want you to think. Now here's the good news about this. What would you like to reduce? Is there anything in that picture you would like to reduce? Yeah, and is there anything you might like to add? Now, here's the really good news. If you added even 15 minutes now, look how big that would be at the end of your life, right? That'd be a big slice of pie. And if you reduced even 15 minutes now, look how much smaller that would be. So I'm going to leave this work with you to do. This is important work for you to do in creating your new normal. You know what you want, but now this is how are you going to make that happen. Okay. Thank you, Satish Bhai, for letting me do that exercise. I thought it was important. Is that okay?
Really, really beautiful. Thank you so
Great
much.
exercise, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Oh. Okay. I know we'll do a meditation at some point. I don't know if you want to do Q&A first or sharing first or what our time is, but I'm in your hands, Satish Bhai.
Yes. Yes. Now we are already up in the time. Sarita would like to.
Yes.
Yeah. If any questions, we can have it in the chat box. So meantime, probably we can have few minutes of reflection. And, yeah.
Great.
If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat box so that we can.
So should we do just a couple moments reflection?
Yeah.
At the end or before the questions? When's your time now?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And you can send me, if we're done our time, happy to respond by email to Satish Bhai if that's helpful. Because I know we have to end. Okay. So I left you with a big piece of homework. I hope you're okay with that. But if you want to create your new Norman, your new natural, your new normal, now here's the way. All right, so let's just have a couple moments of reflection, meditation. So just take a deep breath and come quietly into your own inner world, behind the eyes, in your head. It's where all the thinking happens. And you've just seen a picture of your future based on your present life. I'm the driver of my life, and this little picture in front of me, this bullseye is actually the steering wheel. And I can drive my life in the direction I want, and it requires the smallest choices consistently applied over time. So let me just come into the awareness of myself as the one who chooses. I am the creator of my life. I can make a small choice to enhance something that's very important to me or to diminish something that I'm spending too much time on. It is in my hands. I am the driver. I have the steering wheel. of my life. Take a deep breath in and feel the quiet confidence required to just know you can do this. You can create a new normal that fits what you really want. Om Shanti. Thank you. Lovely to spend time with you.
Thank you so much, Judy. Thank you. Such deep reflections. Do we have any questions?
Lots of realizations. You take your realizations with you. I can feel the ripple, even here, way across the world. I can feel the ripple. Yeah, that's great. Great.
Wow, no questions. Okay, silence is good.
Rama, nice to see you. Ram. Yeah. Mara, there she is. Yeah, good to see you. Well, okay, so I see you're all stunned into silence. Yeah, and I'm happy to send my PowerPoint over, you know, if it's of any use at all to review or reflect on. So,
yes, of course. Please do.
I just have to say that it's a very powerful session. I really felt it. I really felt that energy where I have to put it. So thank you.
my pleasure. Thank you for playing with me, for doing this together. It's fun. I had some realizations too that I'm going to take away. So that's the wisdom that's the fertilizer for growth, right? Yeah. Yeah. Great. All right then. See you next time. Take good care of yourselves, please.
Thank you so much. There is a feedback form we have shared in the link chat box. Please, we ask participants to share your feedback so that it will help us to improvise our sessions for the upcoming session as well. And also we have scheduled the upcoming session on 18th of December. So the theme, because the new year is coming, so we have something very interesting we have. So the topic is it's all about discovering my purpose and passion. And to yeah, we have an interesting guest speaker as well. So we'll be sending you the invites soon once we finalize it, and we'll look forward to have you again and share your insights on that as well. Yeah. Sarita, would you like to share anything before we?
I'm just very happy and content that we all got together. And thank you, Judy. It was so powerful.
Yeah. Thank you, Judy, for accepting our invitation and making your time available for all of us. We're very fortunate to have you here. Thank you so much.
It's a big piece of my pie chart for today. A valuable piece of my pie chart for today. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
And thank you all the participants for your presence. Looking forward to see you again. Thank you so much.